give this one thing up to manifest. And what is that one thing? Well, it's the outcome of how something should happen. Focus on more of the present and the enjoyment that you're having and the value you're adding to others. Surrender. And surrender isn't giving up. Surrendering means giving up resistant thoughts of not being good enough, not being worthy, it's not going to work out, anything that slows you down. Why? Because all those things are directly linked to an emotional state. And your vibration is your emotion. How you're feeling is what's going to be your resonance around you. And that is what you're going to be attracting back to you. Now, to give you an example of this, I've mentioned this a little bit. However, I used to be a personal training director for 2 different fitness companies, a very younger version of my life. And I did really, really well. So I managed the personal trainers, the sales team, and I was head of sales. During my experience, I did this for 4 years. When I first started out, I was a personal training counselor, mainly just doing sales. Then I was an assistant personal training director, and then I was a personal training director. And before I became an assistant, I actually was pretty close to getting terminated because I wasn't selling. I knew the scripts, I was following it. I did not sell at all for 2 months. And then the vice president who hired me actually sent a termination letter to my personal training director saying, hey, these are the people you got to let go of because they're not selling. And then something clicked. I said, F it. I just started having fun and enjoying it. And I took my certification courses as a personal trainer, so I'm knowledgeable. I'm educated. And anyway, so I said, F it. And then all of a sudden I started selling. And I sold my first deal. And I saved my job, right? And then I kept evolving and just having more and more fun because I started letting go of the outcome. And once I started doing that, I really moved into the space of adding value to others, really helping them and really being there with them and not so focused on, oh, I need to sell or I need to hit this quota or I don't know what I'm doing. And then another thing is once my personal training director went on vacation for 1 week, I was left to be the acting personal training director. And this was after I got promoted to being an assistant because I started doing well. It was funny because I started acting as if, right? Acting as if I am this version of being a personal training director. And I got all the appointments that were coming in for a week. Well, most of the appointments. And what ended up happening during this time was I embodied the role of the manager. And I sold $20,000 that week of personal training. And the next day after my training director came back, I got a call from my VP as I was about to head to work because he was coming back from vacation. And my vice president calls me as I'm about to head over, to my club and work. And he says, hey, are you ready to be a personal training director? And I'm like, what? And I'm only 18 years old, right? And this is at the age you can be hired to work for the company. You have to be 18 to work for the company. And I'm like, can I call my training director and talk to him first? He's like, nope, you got to give me an answer right now. And I'm like, yes, because I've been wanting it. I've been wanting this position. I saw the amount of money you can make. I saw my personal training director making $3,000-$4,000 every 2 weeks per paycheck. And I was like, whoa, I want that. All right. So I was like, yeah, let's go. I got this really awesome club. I got promoted. And so 2 things. One, I embodied the role of being a personal training director. And once I was, I dominated. I mean, we're pretty competitive in sales in our district and just throughout the corporate company. And I did really, really well. And there was, I think during that, when I got promoted, it was a couple months later when it was December, and I was the only training director out of the whole company selling in December. And everybody's on vacation, nobody's going to the gym, and it's like for 10 days straight, I had top commission, top sales, and I think it was 12 days straight. Yeah, it was like 10 or 12 days straight. I was top in the nation out of the whole country of all of our locations. And I was just having fun and doing it, and then eventually what ended up happening was my momentum kind of slowed down because I was getting kind of stagnant and bored, and then getting pressured by VPs. And when they start pressuring you to sell, that's when I started doing worse, right? So I started becoming outcome dependent on selling, and I would start pressure closing people using all the sales tactics in the book, whatever. And that's the thing I didn't like about sales, especially when I stopped. I never wanted to sell again because of like the manipulation behind it. However, towards the end of my actual career, when I did work for another company, I was so laid back. They let me do whatever I want. And I actually sold more than I ever sold before. And I sold all paid in full. I was selling like the same type of programs, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 programs, except I was getting them paid in full. I didn't have to like split them up and do contract training. I actually evolved so much in adding value to people and not worrying about the outcome, because one, I knew I had great trainers, I had great products. However, my point is, I didn't like the pressure closing stuff. And when I started doing that, focusing on hitting my sales quota or I'm going to lose my job, I actually did worse. And yeah, sometimes I would get really good deals by doing so. And however, it wasn't coming from the heart. It wasn't heart-based sales, right? And my point with this is, if you ever pressure close someone, they'll end up canceling their program because they bought too much of a program. It was too big. It doesn't matter how excited I got them. Anyway, my point is once I figured out how to sell from the heart and I let go, especially like my last and I'll go over some more of the story, but in my future videos. My point is though, when you're adding value to people and you're not worried about the outcome, or you're not focused on getting a goal, and you're just being present in the moment and having fun and building rapport and just enjoying whatever's in front of you, it was the best. Because when I started being this version of me that's loving and caring and giving out my best stuff and creating programs and just showing people, because I wanted my members to be the most educated member on the floor. I didn't want them to get hurt. I wanted to know that they knew what they were doing, how to change their reps, sets, weights, their tempo, range of motion, how to isolate their muscle groups, how to avoid getting injured, especially with people who've had bad experiences at the gym. So when I started doing that, more people, even towards the end, I would just ask, would you like some assistance, or would you like some help, or would you like to work with a trainer? I would just ask them. I wouldn't start presenting and stuff. And most of the time, towards the end, people were always like, how much is this? Like, they were just excited. They're like, I want to get on a program, because I'm going through it with them. I'm seeing the areas that they're lacking, experience or education, how to get themselves from point A to point B. And they always realize the benefit of having a trainer. Even me, I had a trainer when I was, doing this job at one point, because I was getting pushed more than I would on my own, because I was also learning things as part of it. Like coaches need coaches, trainers need trainers, So when you let go of the outcome and you have fun and you're in that blissful, joyful state, everything comes and it's in alignment. And then everybody else around you is also enjoying it, because you're not going to make anyone happy if you're not happy. You're not going to have fun with others if you're not feeling the fun. That's your reflection in the mirror isn't going to smile until you do. Okay? And this is the number one thing with not just the law of attraction, keeping your emotional state and vibration high. It's the energy you're putting out is what you're going to receive. So let go of the outcome and enjoy your present moment, because you get this time to do so. All right? Much love. That's all I had for today. Much love. Love and light vibration out. Have a pleasant, wonderful, magnificent, transformative day. Bye.